Hello, it is time for some more stories from my experiences as a plumber. These are things that happened at previous employers, not where I'm working now. Some of them happened to other people, and the names have been changed to protect the innocent and or guilty or just stupid. First, a personal one. I had just started out. I was a 30-year-old apprentice because I had changed jobs. I went from being an inside sales guy to being an HVAC guy. And so I found myself in the basement of a four-family house. And we were putting in a back flap box, which is a box with a flapper in it, and it keeps the sewage from going the wrong way. So what you have to do is crack the great big sewer pipe, big iron pipe, put this box in there, put fittings in there, and that's it. So you have to crack the floor open, you dig out all this dirt, find the pipe, put a pipe cracker on it, because you snap the pipe a specific space, and you put the box in there, put the fittings. My job, as the helper, was tell everyone not to flush toilets, and then stand there by the pipe, the business end of the pipe, which is connected to all the people part here, and if I felt any air on my face coming from this poo pipe, it meant that there was a load coming down at me, and thus me and my fellow workers. And I would alert them to this and leap out of the pit and say something like, "Incoming," or "We got one," and the obvious would come right out of the pipe. And I remember the first advice I ever got was this stuff comes out, and you're supposed to get a shovel and then clean it out and get back down the pit and get work. So this stuff comes flying out of the pipe, and before I look back in the pipe, my old boss put his hand across my chest and goes, "Wait for the paper." Obviously, right? So that was one of my first experiences. Working in the field made some people very bitter and angry, and I worked for a particularly bitter and angry guy who was generally a nice guy, but he was jaded with humanity. And he would point it out in strange ways. He just saw the world a little bit differently. So we were driving around one day, and there was a very large woman. Didn't look particularly happy, and she was dragging a small child who was very upset. You've ever seen a very upset 8 or 10-year-old child, the face crying, being dragged along by mom. And I remember this guy I was working with says, "You see that? She's probably dragging him home to eat him." And just how he got that, I don't know. We used to talk about the hatred, like the weather, and we would talk about it like the weather. How's the hatred today? And we would go, "Oh, you could cut it with a knife." It was just something we were steeped in. We said almost constantly, "It is what it is," to everyone that we did service calls to, because that's, it is what it is. So sometime after that, I'm working on my own. I got a 40-foot ladder. We have to go work up on these flat roofs of buildings, and on a flat roof of a commercial building, you usually have a rubber roof, which is a pretty amazing feat of technology. Huge sheet of continuous rubber, one piece, 40, 50 feet wide, one piece, and they glue the seams and stuff. So it's quite the thing to put one of those on, and they're very, durable, and you don't want to mess them up. So I put my ladder up there, and they say, "You need to work on number 7, which is there's rooftop units, which are big metal boxes with air conditioning and heat in them, and they connect to ductwork that goes down into the building through the roof, and then that ductwork goes and spreads the air around." So I was going to work on these number 7 one. They're all numbered. I go, "Well, which one's number 7? And he goes, "Put your ladder up here, and you'll see the tracks, and follow the tracks." And I go, "Okay." So it's wintertime. I figured he's talking about tracks in the snow. So I put my ladder up there, and there's patches about that big, like footprints going boop, 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 all the way out to a certain rooftop. So I go out there, and I fix the belt that I go to, and I go, "What's the story with all the patches?" He says, "Well, I was up there a year ago in the wintertime, and there's a lot of ice up there, and I'm working on the unit, and we had to call the utility company to to come out because we own everything from this side of the equipment, and they own everything, all the gas piping from this side, and something was broken on their side. They did come up and look at it. So he was working on it, and he heard this weird noise, like rup, 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 rup. And he looks up, and there's a utility guy with a hard hat and a harness on, and he's wearing crampons on a rubber roof. And I go, do you mean like the stretchy ones with the little nubs? And the guy goes, no, like you're going to climb Everest. Crampons, big spikes. And he had walked all the way across the rubber roof, putting holes all the way across the roof. And that's why, to this day, there are patches going out to old number 7. So there's a couple stories for you. I will put up more as they occur to me. Well, I'll give you one more. So I was working with some people, often with people that do insulation, because there's a certain order to do things in construction, and foam insulation is one of the later things, because once you put the foam in, it entombs things. So I was working with some of those people, and they were telling me this great story about a guy that quit. So his boss was giving him crap, didn't like his work, and he said, you know what, just leave the truck there and leave. So what the guy did is, if you've ever seen a foam, spray foam outfit, it's usually a big box truck, and you have tanks in it, and you have big hoses, you know. Spray foaming, by the way, is not a crude thing. Spray foam people have to wear all this special equipment, and there's a special technique to it. They are skilled people, and really they deserve better. Anyway, so this individual was fired on the spot, and he didn't like that. So what he did was he took the spray foam gun and he filled the entire back of the box truck with spray foam. Now you have to realize that you can't just continuously spray it. You need to do a layer, let it sort of cure up a little bit. If you hold it right there, it's going to actually ignite, because it's an exothermic reaction. So you just put a nice smooth layer after nice smooth layer and build it up and fill the whole truck with it, and then close the doors. So the guy went to pick up the truck, picked up the truck, drove back to the shop, opened it up, full of foam. Another story of a unique revenge is there were a couple of individuals, they were friends, and they didn't like how they were being treated, and their company was a maintenance company, did gas and heat and air conditioning and other things throughout New England, and they waited for the perfect time to be called out to the very edge of the service area states, in fact a little bit beyond, on a beautiful day like a Friday. And they choose that day to call up the office and go, we quit. And the boss goes, well, you're marooned out there, those are my vans, you gotta drive them back. And they go, no we don't. And they locked up the vans because they had their Harleys in the back of the van. So they took out their motorcycles and they locked up the van, and they went on a nice road trip for the rest of the weekend, and their boss had to go all the way to like Rhode Island to pick up the vans. So I hope you like the stories. They are all relatively true. I was either there or they were told to me. If you like these stories, please, you can comment or suggest other ones, and I can research them, find out if they're true, and tell them to you. Please like and share this stuff and let it around, because, well, it just makes this YouTube channel more successful. It makes me able to do more videos, and I like doing them. They're very cathartic, and I look forward to doing them. And yeah, they're becoming a really enjoyable habit, an outlet for me. So thank you again. Have a great night.